Today we are winterizing our camper. Winterizing your camper is really important if you're going to be storing your camper anywhere that gets consistently below freezing or even occasionally below freezing during the winter. We decided we would take our camper into the RV dealer that we bought the camper from to get it winterized. Mostly because we've never done it before, and we definitely don't want to make any mistakes that could damage our camper. And we needed to take our camper in for some service that's needed. I covered the things that need servicing in our end of season review video that you can find on YouTube, and I'll link to in the description. I will do my best to narrate you through the different steps that they do to fully prepare our camper to be stored for the winter. There are a few items you're going to need to be able to do this. One will be the antifreeze itself. This is the one that they used. They suggested getting 3 of those. The other thing they did was they used an air compressor to blow the lines out. So I will need some type of adapter and air compressor if I use this approach next year. Essentially, they hooked up the air compressor to the city water input and then went around to each valve and emptied it, starting with the hot water heater. Once the hot water heater was blown out, they then did put the plug back in and close that all up because we didn't need to get back in there. We then went around to each faucet, shower, toilet, etc., and one by one emptied out the hot and cold water. So they had air blowing in so that would push the water through the lines to empty them out as much as possible. So basically, similar to the de-winterizing, you have to do it for each one. So the outside shower, don't forget about the outside shower, both hot and cold, the sink in the kitchen, and the shower. Then we hooked up a hose to there's an inlet specific for antifreeze. And then inside the camper, you bypass the hot water heater and switch the valve at the bottom so that it will pull in from the antifreeze inlet instead of the water. You need to bypass your hot water heater, otherwise the antifreeze will go in there and it'll take 6 gallons to fill it up. I also point out here the valve you need to switch so that the antifreeze inlet will be used instead of the city water inlet. You then let the pressure build up until the pump turns off. Then you know you have full pressure. And then essentially you're repeating the process. So you're going around from faucet to faucet and turning on the hot and cold just to get antifreeze filled up in all of the lines. Again, don't forget the outside shower. There's a sink in the kitchen. The toilet's an important thing not to forget, and the shower. You want to do hot and cold and the shower hand thing. In the shower, they did point out that it's really important to get any of the water that's sitting in the tub down the drain first. This water was sitting there because we blew the water out of the lines. You want to get that down into the drain, otherwise it will dilute your antifreeze. Again, don't forget the shower, so do hot, cold, and the hand shower part. Then we removed the hose from the antifreeze and then went through into the camper and allowed the water pump to kind of drain the lines of most of the antifreeze. So we only did it in the kitchen and the shower. We didn't go to the toilet or the outside shower for this one, basically just so that the lines aren't entirely full of antifreeze, I believe, is the reason for this. And one of the things he was looking for when we did the antifreeze for each one is to make sure that each one is a solid pink color before moving on to the next one. Then we turned off the water pump and opened up one of the valves just to relieve the pressure from the lines from the water pump running. And we just did that in the kitchen by turning on both the hot and cold. One of the last things we did was to remove the container that has the water filter in it and dump it out between the sink and the toilet, leaving a little bit in the top of the toilet just to help with the seal. And then we put all of the valves back to the dewinterization position so that in the spring we can just start with the dewinterization process right away. The last thing that I didn't videotape is actually emptying the gray and black tanks when he was all done. These were empty when we started, but he was going to empty them again after we finished the winterization process. He also blew out the black tank flush line with his air compressor. He didn't put any antifreeze in that, but he did blow it out. I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.